Okay, I'm recording, and I'm going to share that one last time.
For posterity.
I knew it.
I knew it.
Yes. Okay, Dijonay's Jenny Sampson's signature on the turkey wraps for the vaccinators at the Oakland Coliseum. Woohoo! Okay.
Yeah, for you collectors out there, if you collect Jenny Sampson's work.
Yeah. Although I'd be awfully concerned if it keeps, right? If it sticks around, that's got to be problematic.
They're a little smushed now. But yeah, I did that for 8.5 hours today. Turkey.
Nice. So I don't know how I'm going to follow up on that, but I guess I'll do my best. So hey, folks, some of you may know me, some of you may not, but I'm Erik Mathy. I'm one of the members of EBPCO. And I decided when Vince and Nia were doing the calls for the show and tell and topics and themes, the like, one of the biggest challenges that I've had for years now is I shoot a lot of work, or I do a lot of projects, and then get to a certain point where I'm just like, what do I do with this now? You know, and then things just sit there. So I decided, well, maybe I can hand my work off to somebody and collaborate with them, and then they can just take this thing and they can do something with it. And maybe there's lots of maybes here because I have no idea what I'm doing. Maybe when they're done with it, I'll actually feel like the work is done. Like there's something is complete, you know, where something that I produced ended up becoming something real. Because otherwise it just sort of sits in files on my laptop or as negatives, and it just sits there. And I've shot this big project, or I spent all this time making something with no visceral end result. Right. And it's been a huge struggle of mine for years now, both the feeling of having just like mounds of incomplete work and like lack of completion on any of these projects. So I decided for this particular session to just literally throw the softball out there and say, Brian Brooks, I love your background. Don't ever change, brother. Don't ever change. And say, you know, collaborations, like how do you do collaborations? Or somebody give me examples of successful collaborations. And hope that maybe people have some. Although Anita's background, we're not having background competitions because Anita's is pretty awesome. And I wasn't really sure if folks would sign up, and lo and behold, thank you, bless you all. 3 of you did. So that's what tonight's show and tell is about. That's why I kind of stuck it in there, because it's something I genuinely need help with. And also, since I set that up, I was blessed to have somebody that I'd started a project with, who's a guest with us tonight, Amanda Klimek, start doing some work with some of the photos that I sent her. So she and I will be presenting, which I'm kind of excited about because her work is awesome. And she and I haven't actually talked about the work that she's doing with my work. So I'm really excited to hear what she has to say about it. Not to put you on the spot, Amanda, but I just 100% put you on the spot. And now you have like 30 minutes to think about it, because first up is Sherry here. Sherry.
There's Sherry.
There he is. Okay.
Unmute
Sherry.
yourself, Sherry.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Sherry,
All right.
you're up first. So go
Okay.
ahead and screen share. Jenny, did she have rights to share her screen?
She should be able to.
All right. The ball is collaboratively in your court.
Okay. Can you all see me and hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
You bet.
Okay. So I want to talk just a little bit about this collaboration first, and then I'll show you a few images. I don't normally collaborate ever, hardly. I work totally on my own. And this just sort of fell in my lap. And I want to talk about it because some of you may be interested in doing this as well. It's with a group here in the Bay Area called Mosaics of the Bay. And if you want to look up their website, it's mosaics.org. And so somebody told me about it, and they said, well, it's a group of young musicians, but very professional here in the Bay Area, and they want people to send them images of their artwork, whether it's photography, painting, sculpture, whatever. And they have a file for it, JPEG file, and the composers will look through the file, and if they see an image that strikes them, they will want to compose a small piece based on that work. I said, okay, this sounds interesting. I am musically challenged, I have to say. I cannot hum, I don't sing, I can't carry a tune. So for me as a
Wait, did
photographer,
you say you can't hum?
cannot hum. I mean, I could, but you wouldn't know what song it was. So, for somebody like me who's a photographer and a painter to try to collaborate with musicians is really outside of my comfort zone and outside of the box. But it was fine because they really did all the work. So I'm going to show you just 3 different images because I was picked luckily by 3 different composers over the past 6 months. So this is all, pretty new. And on one of them, I will try to play like maybe 30 seconds of their music. I was not able to figure out how to get their music into this so that you could all hear it. But each of the compositions lasts about 5 or 6 minutes, which I felt would be too long. So I'll just play like maybe 30 seconds of one of them. So I am going to, I guess, share my screen now. Let me get this open. Okay, let me open this further. Okay, can you all see the images? Yes?
Yes, we can.
So the first one that was picked was from a piece that I think I showed you guys a while ago from my Movement Interrupted series. This is called Thinking Too Much. And here I'm using data corruption glitches for aesthetic reasons. I photograph my TV screen when the image pixelates and breaks up. So the first composer that picked this, let me try to move down to the next image. Let's see. I want to show you the people. Okay, so the top guy is the composer. His name is Mario Godoy, and he's here in Oakland. And he created about a 6-minute piece for the guy on the bottom, Alexander Hirsch, who played the cello. And Alexander was actually in Chicago. So this was really kind of a long distance collaboration where I spoke with Mario on the phone and we emailed a couple times and then he just took it from there. So, I really didn't have much to do with it other than talking just about what my work was about. And I let him kind of take it from there. Okay. The next person that picked my work, this is called Shifting Rhythms, and it's from my Identity and Perception series, where I'm combining a lot of photographs that I take in public places. And I write little bits of text and stories on some of the people. All the colors hand painted with oil glazes. So it's really mixed media photography. And this, let's go down to the next guys. This was chosen by, let's see, what's his name? Brian Lynn, the composer, who's in the top picture. And he composed it for the violin, Sam Weiser on violin. And I'll see if I can play just a few seconds of this, possibly. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. Let's see if I can.
Can you show the work while we're listening?
I was just going to ask if we could see the photo while we play it. And you can play more than 30 seconds. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a few minutes. This is great.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there and keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of get a little bit of a taste of the kind of music. These are all young musicians, like in their 20s and 30s, all very classically trained. And it was really interesting. I never heard the music until the day that it was actually put out there and performed. So it was kind of interesting for me. Okay, let's go on. So that was them. And then this is the last piece. This was a little bit different. This one was an improvisational collaboration between two people, the composer and the musician. And they did not see this piece ahead of time, whereas the other people did and worked on it for several weeks actually ahead of time. But these two guys just saw this that day, that just when they were on the stage, and they put it together right then and there and played it. And so that was really interesting for me because I didn't even know what image they were going to pick. And I don't have the music for this one, but it was Laith Siddiq on violin and Vasilis Kostas on the lauto, which is like a mandolin. And these guys were really, really amazing. So that was the collaboration for me. And like I said, I didn't do that much except, provide the image for them. They did all the work. So that was a good collaboration. It was really all on them. And if you really want to hear all of the music, go to mosaics.org. You can submit your photographs or paintings or whatever you guys do. And they would probably love to see all of your work. And if you want to hear the whole thing, which takes about half hour because each one of the people gets interviewed and I get interviewed and everybody's talking and then they play the music. For the first one, it's number 22 and under that mosaics.org. And the second one is number 27. And this one, I don't think they've even posted it yet. Anyway, it's free to listen to the music. You just have to sign in to mosaics.org. So I have to give them a good plug because they're really a good organization. And after COVID is over and we're able to actually get together in person, I told them that all the local ones can come to my studio and put on a concert. And of course, all of you would be invited to come as well. So hopefully we'll see. Okay,
Wow.
Thank you. Thanks. Any questions?
That's so fantastic. That
Yeah,
you did
so
this. You
out of
shared it with us.
Can you put the link in the chat, Sherry? I tried to.
I put the
I
link.
already did.
Yeah, I did. I put the link to Mosaics in the
Oh, thank
chat
you.
already. Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's up there. And after the show, after this is over, any links that I've put in the chat as the host, I'll also put into the event on Facebook. Essentially, I'll do a summary of any of the links or any additional information will be there.
Oh
so
God, you're
nobody
up
else
in
has to
the
take
bar,
notes.
Eric.
They made me a podcast co-host and it's like rubbing off. But I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Like, so during this process, like you put in the images and then they let you know, hey, I would like to compose something to your image. Well, one, what was that collaboration process like? Did any of them give you sort of work in progress to get feedback? And two, when they were done, did the music match the image, right? Like you see the image and you hear the music, and were they a fit?
Well, those are all good questions. Well, the process was once they picked, the image, I think they called me. I think I spoke on the phone to the first two. To these last two guys, not at all, because as I said, that was improvisational right on the spot. But with the first two, I think we spoke on the phone and I think we exchanged a few emails. I did not hear the work ahead of time. So no, they did not ask me for feedback, which was fine with me because like I said, I'm not musical, so I don't think I would have given them any kind of feedback. Did it match my work? Well, hard to say,
Right.
I think parts of it did, parts of it maybe were a little bit more far out. But hey, it was interesting for me to see how other people would interpret my work and hear their point of view. So it was all good. It was very interesting.
Cool.
I recommend it. So thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right.
So,
Great.
So, Sherry, can I ask you how you found them? Number one, and number two, do you have the sound for thinking too much?
I have it, but I couldn't pull it up. I couldn't
I see.
find it, in my computer. If you look under mosaics.org, that would be number 22, and you can
Yeah.
hear all the music for that one. It's
And
number
this-
22.
And the second piece was number 27.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, I'll put that in the notes for the event and the EBPCO event on Facebook.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna
This
stop
is-
it.
That was fabulous.
Hey.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was-
fantastic.
Yeah, for
And-
sure.
And Sherry, you got away with Jenny not asking you to hum the first beat.
I was gonna say, you slid on under there.
You don't want to hear me singing. All right, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, you got away with one, because if I said that, Jenny would be totally like, "So, Eric, what are you gonna sing us tonight?" Like, she would no, there's no quarter, none, zilch. But I believe next up is Jess, who actually made it on time. I was prepared to have you come a little bit later, Jess, but I believe there you are. So Jessica is up
Hi.
next. If you want to share your screen and tell us what you've been up to.
All right. Let's see. How do I do this? Just hit desktop?
Yeah, or if there's a particular window that's already open, you can just usually it'll allow you to select that window.
Hold. Huh. It's giving me an exclamation. I got a new computer, so I'm wondering if that's, here we go. Hold on, it's gonna make me, it's gonna make me quit and then,
Oh, and restart. Yeah. Yeah,
so
no
I'll
worries.
be back. Do you want me to go after the next person?
Yeah, sure. We can skip ahead and then you can circle back around.
Okay.
All right. So that would actually be because as a host, I don't want to go before any of my guests.
You're actually allowed to, usually the host goes first, so.
Nah.
I think you can do whatever.
I'd
you
rather
want.
we run out of time and nobody has to put with my loud mouth and they can listen to Amanda instead. So Nicole is up next.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
So I think what we're going to do, so I don't know, Jenny, if you have mentioned our group collaborative project at all in the past.
I don't know if I have I?
I don't know. So Jenny and I and Christy, who is here somewhere, there she is, Christy McDonald, and I'm pointing this way as if she's there for everybody, but
That's Colleen holding her
And-
Negroni.
and Colleen, the four of us, we started a critique group probably a month and a half before the official beginning of the pandemic. And so we had started meeting together to talk about work, and then really quickly had to shift our plans into an online format. And Colleen, for our first online critique group meeting, Colleen had a fabulous idea, because none of us had any work to show because we were all sort of like scrambling and our lives were changing.
Yeah, it was like right in the beginning.
Yeah, right.
of the pandemic.
It was like February, March.
It was March, late March.
Late March. And Colleen had this really great idea. In order to generate some work for our critique, we would all pick one of our favorite photographs from the history of photography and restage it using toilet paper.
I'm going to interrupt here and say that while I love David's picture of the test buildings, it may not be my favorite in the history of photography. It just was, I was possessed by its capabilities of being reproduced in toilet paper that day.
Yes,
This sounds like an important factor.
that wasn't, yes.
Everything's very important here.
Capable of being reproduced in toilet paper is key.
It's kind of amazing. So, everyone was freaking out about toilet paper and we couldn't, you couldn't find it anywhere. And so we figured it would be a good tool to use. And yes, our decision-making and our favorite photographs definitely shifted once we had to figure out which ones we could actually recreate referencing toilet paper and or the pandemic in some way. So I'm going to share my screen and
Yeah,
then,
you should be able to share it.
all right, cool. I see the button. Let's see.
And I think we're gonna just kind of roll with it. No pun intended.
Too
It
late.
always seems to happen.
You're stealing my wind, man.
And I think we're just gonna go until Eric, you shut us down.
Get a hook. Get a hook now.
Oh, I see. Lack of okay, fine.
Wow.
Wow.
Timer is on.
I have one here too. I'll keep my eye on it. But basically, we ended up taking this like kernel of a weird idea that made us laugh hysterically, and turned it into a weekly or bi-weekly challenge where we all kept making them. And so now we have like a full-on body of work. And
Yeah, I mean, eventually Colleen was like, I think I need to create an Instagram page.
Yeah.
Is that where that came from? Okay, got it.
Yes.
All right.
So you can see like the recreations are on the left. The original work that is the reference work is on the right.
Mm-hmm. And each title, we created a title that we thought was appropriate, but then the second half of the title is the title to the original piece, so that if you're, seeing them without the original piece as a reference, you can actually, figure out what the reference is if you are unfamiliar. I'm going to go through these like a little faster than I normally do, so we get through them.
I mean, I think, the thing is that, it's a project that sort of Instagram became a place where we kind of shot photographs at each other and then just said, boom, and everybody was like, oh my God, now what am I going to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
Because we got really kind of serious about making the pictures. The pictures became really a big part of the day.
Yeah, in the early times of the pandemic and the quarantine, as I'm sure you can all relate, there was a lot of really unknownness about life and what are we going to do, and and there was a lot of time, and this provided a really good distraction for that kind of upsetting and unsettling time. And we all had kind of this common experience of revisiting and diving into all of our photo book collections, trying to find something that we could possibly recreate with toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, with the museums closed, it was a place to revisit things. We all have these books, right? And digging deeply into the books provided a lot of information. This was a result of me actually going out to the websites of New York galleries trying to find women. It was hard.
Yeah, after a while we were like, we need to diversify here.
We decided to do a better job than the history of photography did, although I am guilty of 3 Westons myself.
Okay, the blow up surgical gloves.
Yes, thank you.
Fucking genius.
Oh,
yes,
it was funny.
It actually took this long for me to start swearing. It's a record, but that's genius.
Well, I was pretty proud of myself, I have to say, about that, because not only was there a shortage of toilet paper, but gloves. Like people, like we didn't know a lot about this virus, and as a wet plate collodionist, I have tons of gloves, and oh my God, I just remember like noticing that hand. I was like, oh my God, I have it. My gloves.
Oh, good.
But it's such a great image. And the other thing that I think happened to each of us throughout this, I don't know, however many months it's been, almost a year of doing these, I've never seen this photograph before, the original. there were so many images that we each introduced to one another for the first time. Like we all learned more about the history of photography because we all each had our own individual experiences with it.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the, like, for me, that was one of the most really like rewarding parts, was the fact that we were constantly seeing new things. It makes it more exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
So how many, like looking at this one, right? How many of you ended up picking up a completely new either medium or like type of photography or something, and breaking out of sort of your norm, right?
Ding,
What
ding,
you-
ding, 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 ding.
Well,
Yeah.
Christy maybe could speak to that the best. I mean, she is a street photographer, and she found herself at the first. Where are you, Christy? I can't see you.
No, I'm over
There she
here.
is. I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, you're a street photographer, and you found yourself not on the streets quite as much,
Not at all.
or running dry of street
And
photography.
also not really, it's hard to do street photography in toilet paper.
Oh, well
And I
timed.
think,
There we go.
Here's one of them.
I think that was my
Oh my
first one.
God.
Yeah, this was your first one. I was like, what the hell?
I also-
is that?
I used
But
my teenage daughter as my other collaborator.
And you matched the watch,
model.
the time. Did you match the down to the seconds or just like
I
the
think
hours and minutes?
I don't know about that. I think but it is the right time. It's the same time as Kudelka's.
And I
But
think, it's also like this inadvertently becomes a really remarkable moment in time when we're in complete lockdown in San Francisco and there isn't a soul. This is like in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
San
Columbus.
Francisco.
Columbus. Yeah.
And it was so shocking to see this,
Yeah.
You couldn't make this photograph at any other time, really.
No.
I mean,
But for the record, Jason Eskenazi did do a little sort of call to people making this photograph again all over the world during lockdowns around the world. But this was posted 12 hours before that call.
Yes.
Just saying.
I
He
love that city.
didn't
Like,
want my photo in his project either.
Ooh,
He
'cause he
rejected.
never saw it, right?
It's like, well, that's cool, but it's not really what we're looking for.
It's all right. We don't want
Like,
him
I'm
in ours.
sorry, I'm
either.
not a man. I'm sorry.
here's a very good example of the titling fun that was had.
yes. Yeah. So we also we made a point to pick some, classic heavy hitters from the history of photography, but then I was also interested in some contemporary conceptual photography. And I think we all sort of brought in some contemporary examples of photographers as well. And I mean, this one, it's so simple. But the title really was what was critical to this being a success.
It's inspiring.
I have to say, this actually was so going back to what Erik was saying about changing our processes. I go out into the world to make pictures normally. I don't do things at home. It's just not how I function. And I spent more time in my apartment trying to figure out how to light things and then Photoshop them together than ever in my life. And this was one of them.
I don't think any of us do that kind of photography.
Yeah.
Studio,
Yeah.
lighting, all that.
Mhm.
I mean,
And we also, I think, all used Photoshop way more than we ever have.
yeah,
Mhm.
actually,
I've
this
never
is,
used Photoshop. So.
I think I used Photoshop 2 or 3 times, but this was the first time, I believe. But for the most part, I ended up making stuff with my hands.
Like this
And
one.
my-
Crafty.
Like this, I was crafty. I had a dining room table with toilet paper rolls, a mat to cut. I had tape, I had everything. And my housemate just had to deal with it. And yeah, I mean, it was super fun. Certainly making this stuff with my hands was not my forte, but it was very fun to do it because I never would have made myself do it in the past, but this was just a go for it kind of a thing. And in the beginning, we were each posting one a day. So that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Kept us busy.
It
I
kept us
believe it.
super busy.
Are there any where you feel, or actually anybody in the crowd, anybody in the crowd where you feel that the remade image is better than the
Oh my
original?
God, what a question.
Without question, they're
This
all
one
better than
comes
the
close.
original. All better than the
All
original.
of them. Yes.
Because I'll be honest, like the very first one, right?
Uh-oh. Oh, the Christo piece?
Yeah, yeah. Like the very first one, oh Sharon, of course they're better. The flowers in the background, the color. I mean, not knowing because it was the very first image, right? In the series, which one was the original, which one wasn't the original. I'm looking at them going, okay, well, actually, it feels to me like the image on the left has a tighter, better tie-in. Like the knot work is better, the ropes are better. It's a tighter. The color of the flowers in the background is better. It looks like a better portrait to me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, that's the repro, and I'm like, oh, well, shit. Well,
Nice
Annie, you're
job.
overpaid. You know.
Nice job,
Like,
Christy.
so that's my take. I think the very first one, the redo, is better than the original, and I don't know if anybody else has that same feeling. And if you do, I'm curious, like genuinely. And also, 5-minute call.
I actually think this one might be better than the original.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. On
I
many
mean,
levels.
I don't know. There's some, let's just say I'm super proud to be part of this group. I think there we go, another Christy.
But just, I'm with you, Jenny. Like, this was such a like really reinvigorating way to think about photography, because we all do our thing. Like, we all get into our space, we all do our thing, we all sort of work within those parameters we like find for ourselves, right? And it takes sometimes like a pretty big push to get you to move outside that space because it's unfamiliar. And maybe there's some fear in there. And I just feel like we did that for each other in a really good.
Yeah, and actually what I'm gonna interject here, discussing a picture that's not here for you to see today, but you can go to our Instagram feed, rolls_and_tubes, and see it. But Nicole did a piece really early on that was after an Abe Morell piece. And I was like, this is astounding. And she's like, it's not quite what I wanted it to be. And she had, I think, two different versions of her own in the Instagram carousel. And she said, I just wanted to know, I had always wanted to try one. And I think that was sort of an interesting impetus that, like, Nicole's approach where, Jenny was doing crafts and Christy was doing portraits of her daughter. Nicole was exploring a thing she had been interested in looking at. And Jenny made a tintype.
I made a tintype.
This is a tintype, everybody.
She had to make a tintype. She had to make one.
Tintype.
I made a tintype.
Although she did use Photoshop a little bit to get the edge drift that would have happened within the oval of the mounting, but honest to God.
This is my other Abe Morell, so this is not the one we were talking about.
Thank God I'm not the only one that did dudes more than once.
Yeah.
So we have about 3 minutes, and I'm curious to open up to anybody in the audience, if folks in the audience have any burning questions or comments they want to make in the last 3 to 5 minutes we have.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourselves and
just throw things at them. That's probably what you're going to throw. A roll of toilet paper at them. 1, they'll appreciate it, and 2, it's the only way to get their attention.
Yes.
Hey,
Sharon.
So when is it getting published?
Well,
Look.
Soon.
Yeah,
God,
soon.
it has to be soon. It has to be soon.
Sharon, can we count on you to help us with the campaign to make a book?
I mean, yeah, it just has to be soon. And under these circumstances, it's très importante.
We're exploring that option currently.
Yeah. We've been doing some talking, so hopefully.
Forgive us for being coy at this moment. But.
Yeah, Leads to suspense, it does.
This one is pretty, like, it's so funny. I think Colleen and I were both on the same lecture with the
MOCP.
Yeah, MOCP in Chicago. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm totally doing that. And
I was like, no, it's
Colleen
mine.
texted me during the lecture and was like, I'm doing that one. I'm like, God damn it.
Mine. You already had done a Callahan. There was referendum similar. But I only picked it because I thought it would be easy, and it turned out to be the hardest one I did.
It's so simple that anything that's off is not right.
Right. So there was a lot of like putting small bits of paper underneath the left column to make sure that the left buttock was just millimeters higher than the right.
The ass end of that roll.
Have at it.
Right. Well, you know.
So Eric, I know we're probably getting close. If you need to cut us off, feel free.
I did want to see if anybody else had any final questions in the crowd. We can take one or two.
Okay, mine is not a question. I just wanted to make a comment that I liked all of the remakes better because of humor. I think we don't have enough humor in our life, and to be able to put a little humor into your artwork, I think is really wonderful, and it's good for everybody. So I really loved all these pieces. Good job, you guys.
Sherry, I know that we all appreciate that, and to tell you the truth, like, it really saved us during that time that was very unsettling, and it made us laugh.
It was the first time I laughed, and hard, so hard I was crying.
Yeah.
And then most recently trying to introduce a character.
Yeah, there's just I think in a lot of ways making these was it was a way for us to find you're finished.
I'm going to interrupt her because she's laughing. But, I actually had been getting jabbed by a curator friend in Texas about the fact that I hadn't yet done the pepper. Where's the pepper? Where is it? And I was like, okay. And then by that time there was a little availability, and I had gotten a bad batch of toilet paper that had very, very thin ply, and there was paper mache it.
So on a side note, if any of you need really tiny rolls of toilet paper, at the start of all this, during the hoarding, we may or may not have ordered like 3 cases from China. And when they arrived, they were the tiniest, itty bittiest little rolls of toilet paper you'd ever want to imagine. Like, they might be good for camping, but they're like the size of a Coke can. Like, I mean, they're so small. We're just like, what the?
This is really funny.
I can beat you on that.
All right. I mean, if anybody wants a tiny roll.
I'll bet you that's because everyone in China, you just bring your own toilet paper when you're in a public restroom.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm just saying.
Christy and I went to the South in February of last year to the Freedom Trail, and we stopped in a grocery store and found some very tiny toilet paper. Very prophetically, I bought it as a souvenir, still in my kitchen.
Nice.
Go back to the Gordon. Didn't you want to say something about that?
Just to piggyback off of that, this is this was made when I discovered the Charmin Forever roll, which is actually a roll of toilet paper that is about this big. And it has a normal size tube in the middle, but it's for like industrial, never ending purposes. And so it actually is a real thing, this out of scale, strange toilet paper.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Oh no, she was so excited when she got that.
We learned about the history of photography, but we also learned a lot.
You can wear it as a hat.
So one time I used a toilet, a towel roll. This is so exquisite. This thing just blew my mind. The delicacy of the petals, so gorgeous.
Okay, so.
All right, I think we're probably at 20
at the hook.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're squeezing it out a little bit.
No.
Here. My son is 14.
Toilet paper.
It's all about bad dad jokes right now. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. What I am sorry about is he is better at them than I am. Wah, wah. So that was speechless. That was super fun. And next up, Jessica, are you back with us?
I'm here.
All right.
If I can share it, I'll try.
All right, let's do it.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like this will work.
Excellent, Smithers.
Yay, you got it.
You can see that?
Yeah.
Ooh, these you're printing?
Yeah, so these are the prints. Let's see.
I'm so excited. You've been printing so well. I'm very excited about this.
Well, this is early on, so yeah, I was pretty unrefined. So hopefully I've been more refined now. But my friend is going through, I guess, you call it like a growth period, and she's kind of self-reflecting and found a portrait photographer in Arizona, Carrie Ann Munstead, and wanted to do a series of portraits of her basically coming out of this box. And so I asked her to write something up about these photos, but it was about the same time I was starting to explore platinum palladium printing. And so I asked her if I can use her photos, and got permission from the photographer to use her photos and make digital negatives and then print platinum palladium. And so this is what she wrote. I'll give you guys a few seconds to read that. So I was really excited that I can do or be a part of this project with her, because she really is a good friend. And I'd like to help her along this journey. So this is the first box picture. This one, I think she called this one Emerging.
I know this one.
And that's her out of the box. And so her dress was like a gold color. And I was also exploring printing on vellum and then doing some gold leaf gilding. So she was my first attempt at that. So I did all those same pictures with the gold leaf gilding. And I apologize for this. This is the photo, the iPhone camera. So it's like a pink hue in there, but
Very beautiful.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Huh. My thing froze.
The computer blues.
Yeah, let's see what happened. What's going on?
Maybe close out, stop share, close out, start back up again.
Okay, hold on. That's just one more photo.
Eric, this is such a great theme.
Thank you.
It's
Only because y'all are here, right? So
That's the last photo, yeah.
can you go back to the first one with the gold leaf? And you said so that was your first print that you'd done that type of work in?
Yeah, but I don't know how to get there now. Sorry.
No, it's okay. If you can probably go back to screen share, maybe if it'll
I
let
don't know
you.
what's going on with my computer. Oops, that's not what I want.
No worries.
All right.
There's time.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, wait, there. Is
Um,
that what you wanted?
you need to
We're
share.
not screen sharing yet.
Oh.
Green button, screen share at the
Yeah.
bottom.
And there we go.
There we go.
Here we go.
Excellent.
Oops. Okay.
Got it.
So you want to see the first one?
Yeah, the first one, the 44, the 684.
That one.
Yeah, that one is. So that's the first one of these that you've
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Damn. So actually, Colleen just put into the chat for everybody, is gilding on top of the picture. Forgive my ignorance of the process.
So this was printed on vellum, so it's on underneath. So
Okay.
you use like a size and paint that on first underneath on the back side of it, and then apply the gold leaf on the size, and that
Oh,
makes it kind of stick.
Okay.
And how do you get the folds like that? I mean, they really look like folds of, I don't know, the gold. I'm not sure what my question is. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's just the black part. So I printed in black and white, and so that's just the black part. I guess the black and white part of the
Yeah,
dress.
yeah. I'm gonna say, because you can only really see, like, if I squint and look really hard in the upper curve, about a fifth of the way down on the left, there's a little bit. They've worked a little bit with gold leaf, and gold leaf is really hard to put on smoothly. You can see a couple little places where it crinkles, but other than that, man, it is smooth as all get out.
Yeah, it's a tedious process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is therapeutic as well. It's right at the beginning of the pandemic, so it was, I had time, and it was fun to explore, and she loved the photos, and yeah, it was exciting to do.
So are there more of these, or was it just not gonna say just, but like this series of like 6, 7, or less than 10, or where is it going from here?
I did do well, as far as her photos, I haven't seen, there were more, there are a couple more but they weren't the box series.
Okay.
And then I haven't seen much since then, but it's probably because she hasn't been able to go back down and get her portrait taken.
Got it.
But as far as the vellum, yeah, I've done a few other ones with just like landscape stuff.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, before I ask questions, or who else has questions? Sorry.
I have a question. Are you going to do more, like a whole box set?
I'm not sure what she's going to. So she hired another photographer to photograph all these photos. I tried to do a portrait session with her and didn't quite work out, more because of my lack of photography skills with portraits. But yeah, if she gets more box sets printed, I'd love to continue the series.
Beautiful.
Really cool. Yeah.
So during the collaboration process, like once you started doing some printing, was that after all the images had been shot, or was it sort of like she did a couple, you printed a couple, and did your printing affect how she shot her portraits going forward? Yeah. Right, because your prints are sort of the actual end presentation, right? And so does that affect how she went forward with more of the portraits?
I don't think so, because we printed after the pandemic, so she hasn't gone back to get more portraits taken. So but that'd be interesting. Maybe that'd be a great question to ask her once the pandemic's over and she can fly down.
Right. Cool.
Eric, I think you're exposing as to how many different ways collaboration can occur. I think you're exposing it.
I'm trying. I mean, I'm not exposing anything. You are. I had no idea. So like I said, I'm just happy people are here. It's not just me and the bunny over there.
Let's see the bunny.
Okay, Amanda's here for the photography puns. Wah, wah.
Well, we're definitely seeing a kind of work or an experience of photography that we haven't had in past show and tells. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really digging the fact that we're focusing on the printing aspect of this, and this collaboration is definitely twisting it on that end and putting the I wouldn't call it mixed medium, but it's the art of printing.
But it is a little bit of mixed medium, because there's the gold leaf. It's not just emulsion on paper, right? The end piece is using different mediums to get that end print. So,
but is that really, I mean, in printing, would gold leaf be considered mixed medium?
I have no idea. Can somebody else? Nicole, paging photography professor to the white courtesy phone.
Yes, hello. How can I be of service?
Would this type of printing be mixed medium because it's mixing gold leaf and vellum for the end print, or is this still considered alternative or traditional photography printing?
I think it falls under alternative photography. But I mean, there's a real fine line there because this is getting close to painting in that there's, applied and painted substances. So it's somewhere in the like mixed media, alt process, gray zone.
I'll take all process. I don't know about mixed media.
Okay.
I mean, only because it's like when you talk about like tone, if you're gonna tone anything, or if you're gonna dye, I mean, that's not necessarily mixed media. That's I mean, gold leaf is gold leaf. It's not like Crayola. So it's
Which, to be clear, is what I would have used. Because my ability to actually do gold leaf is worse than my ability to use Crayola. I think it's a close.
Wasn't a jab at Crayola.
No.
Acceptable marking implement.
Right. Sharon agrees. Here's the Crayola. And what I really think is cool for those of you who haven't kept an eye on Jess's Instagram or her Facebook posts is, she started doing this type of printing, I think right sometime just before during the pandemic, but it's gotten better and better and better. And some of the prints you're producing outside of this body work are really just exceptional. Like really nice prints. I look forward to seeing your prints when they come out, and kind of wish that I could do them. So yeah.
I'm learning how now, so I can teach you.
Woohoo!
It's been quite the journey. It's actually interesting because very rarely do I see something through the entire process. If I've felt like I've come close to achieving the look I want, I don't know if I just get bored or or maybe I'm just constantly wanting to learn. So I move on to something else pretty quickly. And it may just be the platinum process that's challenging. And I'm addicted to it. Like, 2 to 3 times a week, I'm trying to print. I just squeeze in whenever I can. So it's just, I love the process.
Well, you've just been volunteered by Vince to do a workshop. So, start working on your curriculum. Right. And, I mean, you can tell Vince no, but good luck with that. That's how I ended up doing a dollar bill lens workshop.
Didn't work for me. I'm married to the guy
now. So does anybody else have any comments or questions?
Links to the Instagram. Links to the Instagram.
Oh, yeah. I will send that in the chat.
Thank you. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks. Great stuff.
Which means I have to
great work.
All right.
Yeah,
thank you.
Really nice.
All right, so just hit stop share.
Yep.
Good.
Okay, so I guess that leaves partially myself and mostly Amanda. Let me do the screen share. I have a mama bunny wandering around this room, so.
Pixar didn't happen. Show us the bunny.
I show you the bunny. 1 second. Already. Pixar didn't happen. Choose vertical background. None. Where is she? Here she is. Hold on. Boop.
Bunny.
There she is.
What's she eating? Kale?
Right now she's eating dandelion greens and some cilantro and some lettuce. Pretty much when a mama bunny gets pregnant, the diet goes out the window, and like everybody just says, feed them whatever they want.
Busy bunny.
Yeah. We rescued her from a city park in San Leandro, and 4 days later she had babies. So seriously, no lie. We rescued her on Tuesday, and our friend our veterinarian, our rabbit veterinarian, who's a good friend of ours, came out because she was bored and did a house visit on what is today? Today's Tuesday. Came out and did a house visit on Thursday and did an exam on her and the other one we rescued. And she's like, oh, she's really pregnant. I can feel the individual babies in her stomach. She's really pregnant. And now we're like, oh shit. I mean, okay. And also, oh shit, we've never had baby bunnies before. And that started a frantic like YouTube, like Google everything search on what the fuck do you do with a pregnant, like what do you do? And there was originally some minor debate as to whether or not we would keep her through the pregnancy. But as soon as Heather, my lovely fiance, heard that there were baby bunnies involved, there was a loud squee, and there was no question we were keeping through the baby bunnies. Mostly it was baby bunnies. Ah! And I'm like, okay, here we go.
That's what I did.
Yeah, pretty much. So we have another batch of EBPCO bunnies.
Yeah.
This will be the second after Shagus, the second
How
batch
many?
of baby bunnies.
R.I.P.
There are 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So there is, by popular request. That's Mama. That's Boule, which is a little loaf of round French bread. And don't worry, there'll be plenty of photos when the babies open their eyes in about 5 days. So yeah. And I have to admit, okay, so I'm gonna screen share this one particular set. So some of you have seen these along, I feel like well over maybe a year and a half, or maybe even 2 years ago. I shared some work in progress that was genuinely in progress called What's Left Behind. And it's a series of 35mm negative black and white photographs where I was challenging myself to shoot really, really close, really, really brutal images using a dental lens. Right, the lenses, like the Yashica cameras and the dental lenses that they used to use to like get into your mouth and like take the macro photos of your teeth. Those, because it was a challenge. One, to force myself to shoot in a different way and to just shoot really close and to pay attention to the tiny details. And also, 2, I had just a lot of sort of philosophical questions of, as I started to notice, like focusing on the small details, all the things that get left behind in the world. Originally it was garbage, because God knows if you start to look around at how much garbage there is, it's almost ridiculous. It was really difficult for me to stop taking photographs of garbage because people leave garbage everywhere and it's fucking depressing. But then I started to try to see the other things that are left behind. And it could be people, it could be religious icons, it could be all sorts of things. And I shot a lot of film for a while, which I'll start to page through. But then I got to a point where, I had like 20 some odd rolls of film of these little vignettes and little snapshots of things that are left behind in various ways. And I had no idea what the hell to do with any of it. And again, came to one of these with like, here's this vomit of like these images. What the hell am I doing? And it became one of those things where for a while the journey was the thing. But I hit a loggerhead and was blessed and to have as a really as now at the time a coworker, now a former coworker, but still really, really good friend and really, really talented artist, Amanda Klimek, who's here with us tonight. Her work is primarily in sculpture and ceramics. Like she works with dental tools on her stuff. Her stuff is so fine detailed. But also she started doing these really, really amazing collages with her old artwork. And so I reached out to her and I can't remember what I said besides, I have these images. Do you want to try to do something with them? Because I am completely stuck. And I just dumped on her like 200 5x7 prints from friggin' Walmart in just like a box of just like prints, and just sort of ran away and didn't hear anything for a while. Came up with this topic, literally with this topic for the show and tell, figuring I'm not going to show anything because I have no idea. I have nothing. I'm lost. And then she started posting these really incredible collages. And I was like, holy shit, those are made out of my photographs? That's crazy. Amanda, what are you doing on Tuesday? And roped her in. And she's a kind enough person to show up to talk about her half of the collage. So of the work. So let me get to this. And the joy and pain of Zoom is like all the windows are in the way of the stuff. Mm-hmm. So this, I have maybe a dozen of random photos to show of things that are left behind, right? And I just started to notice, everything from, snails leaving trails, no jokes, people. Dead cockroaches. This is actually in Italy, in a laundromat of all places. I was trying to see how close I could get. Footprints, dropped ice cream in Milan, actually, I believe. Someone's prescription, Market Street. Memories. And people, right? When someone leaves, they inevitably leave people who are close to them behind.
I remember those.
Yes. These are perfect from a technical standpoint. All you photo nerds out there, is a perfect illustration of how deucedly difficult shooting a dental lens with a razor thin depth of focus can be. Like just a smidge off and you've got the ear instead of the eye. Honestly, I was really going for her eye, and I wobbled a millimeter forward and got her ear instead. But icons, like people don't just leave memories, some people leave these huge footprints and these icons and these legends behind that people turn into heroes or gods. Brian will recognize these guys.
Yeah, I was gonna give a shout out.
Oh yeah. This is actually at the Madonna Giussalo. It's the patron saint of cycling at the top of a mountain in Italy. It's this tiny little chapel that's filled with just the greats of mostly Italian, because it's in Italy, but the greats of cycling are filled with this church, and it has service every Sunday, and cyclists ride up the mountain to attend church every Sunday morning. It's a tiny, tiny little chapel. It's maybe 20 feet, 25 feet deep, 15 feet wide. Really remarkable, beautiful place. And I always wondered, did Jesus really intend to leave this legacy behind? Like what was he thinking would happen with his name and his image, and the wide varieties of ways people use it, like he's got a church of cyclists out there. It's bizarre to me sometimes. This is one of the rare diptychs, actually. So and animals like peacocks leave feathers behind. And what do we do with all this? This one is actually from Verona. If any of you've ever been to Verona, which is of course the scene, the setting for Romeo and Juliet, the legendary places that theoretically inspired Romeo and Juliet. The balcony, Juliet's balcony, is a real place, and there's a tunnel that goes into the courtyard, and it's lined with people who leave love notes and love letters. And some of them are stuck on there with gum. Like they don't have anything else to affix these love letters and notes with and names. They stick them on with gum. It's just this crazy place. It's completely bonkers. And some people leave behind some really powerful things. Like Anne Frank. Oops. And there should be, hold on, let me, here we go. And then these are, I'll come back and let Amanda talk about them, but these are the collages that Amanda started to produce with the images. And from which I had no idea, Amanda, what you were going to do. But when you started to put them up on Instagram, I literally just had to sit down and go, oh my God, these are beautiful. And half the time I look at them and I stare and I'm like, what photos are these? Like, okay, I can recognize the peacock feathers, but man, which one's that? Okay, I think I see Pantani, you know, like, no, this is actually, I take it back. This is graffiti from Grenoble, France, right? And I just stare at them. I'm like, what? Which ones are these? You know, and it's really remarkable for me to try to see these and figure and not recognize my own work, but also recognize that they've honestly been made into something far more beautiful than I think the original images actually had any right to be. um, and I don't know, Amanda, if you can, you can talk by all means.
Okay.
No, you go and you tell me. I've got these 3 and then the 2 you sent me today.
Yeah. So, and I apologize in advance. My elderly deranged dog is having a hard time with me still being at my desk. So if you hear barking, that's this guy. So yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys for letting me be sit on your little session here. It's been such a treat. I'm not as used to talking about my work, but I guess talking about this in terms of collaboration, I love to do collage, but I also have this high need to create everything myself. So I often collage with my own drawings. And so I don't usually use found imagery. But I really liked the idea of using Erik's photos as found imagery, especially because they were imagery of found things. So that was cool. And then I really like to use this kind of push-pull where you get sucked in to the image and then you kind of zoom back out. And the photographs created this wonderful opportunity to do that and to transform them into something completely different. So I started by making these kind of planty shapes and just kind of free forming them. And I guess one of the challenges is, do I honor what's in the picture and try to keep certain details in, or do I just completely just go with the color and the tone to compose? And I ended up doing a little bit of both. There were some photographs that I just couldn't work with. Like I couldn't cut up the Anne Frank Memorial pictures. I couldn't do it. Yeah. And I found the photos with people's faces to be really difficult because faces are just so loaded. But at the same time, using them as collage material can kind of rob them of their meaning or change their meaning a little bit. So I guess I did a little bit of both. I think this one, I love the ability to see the face of the icon. And it kind of has this classical feeling. And then you see the pills and it's kind of like street, you know, contemporary street scene. So yeah, that's kind of where that started. They've gotten a lot busier lately. And then, oh, if you want to go forward one, I have a little ceramic. I started making these little vessels and I was just making little funny vessels with plants. So the photos became the plants coming out of the vessels. And then the next one is another one of that. So
I love this one. This one's rad.
It's really
how are you providing support for the cutout photographs?
Oh, they're just like this, like Kodak, like they're stiff because they're like the Kodak.
Okay, just the paper.
So they just kind of they stand up. These are very small. So I think if they were bigger, they would fall down. But like this piece is maybe like the size of this big. Like the egg form is like a little smaller than an actual egg. So it's very small. So yeah.
And on the other ones, were you painting the background papers or are they colored papers?
No, that's just colored paper. So yeah.
What made you choose which color for which background and which color for which ceramic piece?
I just really liked the bright colors. I'm going through a bright color thing. Yeah, I just really liked the I'm always very attracted to primaries, and I've been very into hot pink lately. I can't explain it. It just happens, you know.
I think there's something really appealing though about those bright colors with the black and white photographic paper. I mean, I've been kind of playing around a little bit with collage as well, and have found that, I mean, I've painted paper and then put stuff on top, and I've chosen colors that I wouldn't typically want, but they just look good, I think. Like these look amazing. I love how those look.
For sure. Thanks. Yeah. So they've gotten a little they've gotten a little out of control lately. So yeah, these top 3 in this Instagram all have Erik's photos in them. Oh, the snail that you showed in the beginning is in this blue guy. Erik, on the...
Sorry, I'm just grabbing sorry, I was grabbing your Instagram for everybody to see.
No, it was there for like a second.
I know. Wait, which one? This one? Wait, which one?
Oh, can you go to my Instagram?
Yeah.
And then click on the one more over. Yeah, that one. So if, oh, sorry, Annie.
Hi, Annie.
She's nuts. Yeah, the snail's right there at the top. So he worked his way in. And then this one also has some of the rabbit.
The little bunny.
Yeah. And
little old bunny.
Yeah, the black and white is just, it kind of is like a hole in reality, especially if you go 2 over. Yeah, this one. Like I just found like the black and white photo just kind of like sucks you into this different world for a second. And it really contributes to this push-pull that I'm always working with the visual, with the pattern on the surface and then the colors. Annie.
Hi, Annie.
She's like, she must be heard.
Annie has opinions often.
Yeah, she's opinion.
And just for those of you who, when I say Amanda does ridiculous sculpture, I'm just gonna humble brag. Like that.
Yeah.
And are those made of paper?
No, that's ceramic. So that's
pretty much. If you see them in paper in person, they're pretty much paper thin.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're a little bit ridiculous.
But I think I learned something from working with the photographs because I've been getting more into this. I really like the shiny surface of the photo. So I've been kind of getting into more reflective, like adding reflective and matte together. Yeah.
It almost looks like the hue, it looks like along with the blue, is that like a graphite kind of color also, the glaze?
Yeah. It's like a pewter, it's like a metallic pewter glaze.
Like black and white photography paper.
Yeah. Okay.
Even influence.
5 more minutes, buddy. Oh
yeah, like this.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's just a straight up mirror.
No, this part isn't.
Oh yeah, no, that's like a gold metallic situation. Yeah.
Everyone's a critic. It's Annie. Annie's always a bit of a critic.
Annie's has no tolerance for my not. Her thing is she
That's
wants.
Why I was.
Yeah.
She's so mad. She's an angry dog. I loved the photo where you replaced the chihuahua with the toilet paper. Oh gosh. Yep. Well, that's the spiel.
Yay! That's so cool.
So, anybody, it feels weird to be the host and also say, does anybody have any questions mostly for Amanda, because she did the vast majority of the interesting work?
Or Annie, you can ask her questions.
She'll definitely give you answers.
Cool. It's really cool just like thinking about, I mean, we've had different kinds of collaborations tonight, and just, when you see like with Sherry and Erik, your guys' photographs then being used in a completely disconnected way from the original work. I don't know. It's very cool. It's really beautiful. And
yeah, and like I said, don't ask me to tell you exactly which photos Amanda used, because I stare at some of these and I'm like, I don't know.
well, it probably helps to have some separation from what the original photograph is. Amanda, like you can just take it and you can see it without any emotional connection to them, and more like from the basic characteristics of them, you know, and then go with it.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to leave in and what to leave out, because sometimes like the candles, I really liked the high contrast of the candles, but then it's just like, oh, a candle, like a contextless candle can be just so, you know, it's like a symbol, it just sucks you into its symbolism immediately. So hopefully kind of cutting it up and fragmenting it can transform it enough to keep it from getting sucked down the symbolism black hole, I guess, if that makes sense.
Symbolism black hole.
That sounds like a band name.
I like it.
Okay. Sorry, I it's been a while.
We should do an Instagram for this project, Amanda, and we should call it the Symbolism Black Hole.
Oh my gosh. It's called Amanda Hasn't Talked About Her Work with Other Artists in a Really Long Time. I really appreciate you guys listening.
We're an easy group.
We are. And someday we shall all meet in person again. Our place. There's gonna be an EBPCO party at our place. I promise. So, all right. If nobody has anything else, Jenny, Vince, Anita, is there any closing EBPCO business to?
Eric, do you want to stop sharing?
No way. I never stop sharing. I'm kidding. I probably share too much. Okay.
That was awesome. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, the silent applause. Everybody's on mute, but God, that was really great. Wow, so enjoyable. We haven't had that I don't know, that one was really fun.